Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Subclass Showdown, where everybody gets mad at me because I didn't put their favorite subclass in Goated with the Sauce. No, I'm just kidding. You guys have been very great. Round 7 was absolutely incredible. We had a lot of great subclasses in this round, and a lot of things people had voted on. So without really any further ado, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started right off the bat. So first up, we have the Celestial Warlock. And I'm not going to... I think the Celestial Warlock deserves where it should be, right up here in near perfect. The Celestial Warlock offers a lot to differentiate it from other Warlocks. Kind of like the Divine Soul Sorcerer, the Celestial Warlock kind of leans more into a like healing and support focused subclass that does a lot on the kind of the back end. And because Warlocks are good at crowd control and keeping people away from you, you can kind of do a pretty good job as a healer in general. Specifically, your Healing Light ability I think was pretty good, and I like that it's a bonus action, so it's pretty easy for you to be able to heal and use. The Celestial Warlock also does pretty well in higher level campaigns. Your Searing Vengeance ability is pretty neat, as you basically just nuke yourself instead of dying, which is pretty great. But it also lets you experiment with like cool flavorful story stuff, like you took a Warlock thing to become more helpful in your community or something, but then that means you had to sign some sort of deal. It's an interesting, like, I'm doing good but maybe have to kind of do this weird semi-bad thing, or like sell your soul is like a semi-bad thing. Or maybe you made some kind of weird deal with a god, you know, it's like you just gotta sign the contract but you don't have to like actually believe in them, kind of thing. There's interesting things you can do here that a cleric or a paladin doesn't quite offer you in terms of like quote-unquote lore. So if you wanted to lean into that, it's here, and I think that's pretty nice. And as you can probably already tell, our tier list is getting pretty big. So we're just gonna grab right here. I'm gonna put it, it's not poopy doo-doo garbage trash, but I am gonna put the Ancestral Guardian down here for just a minute. The Ancestral Guardian is fantastic. I might decide where it goes in fantastic here in a minute, but the Ancestral Guardian honestly is one of those subclasses that like it just leans really hard into defense. And it's funny that like we also did the Abjuration Wizard in this same grouping, because funnily enough they almost do the same thing. Like you could, if you wanted, do an Abjuration Wizard Path of Ancestral Guardian, and they kind of feed into each other pretty well, which, you know, obviously doesn't usually happen between barbarians and wizards. So it's kind of a funny, like, I guess, coincidence or circumstance that we did them both, at least I think. But the Ancestral Guardian also kind of leans into like cool barbarian flavor stuff. A lot of barbarian kind of cliches is that they're all about the tribe, or they're all about their barbarian clan and all this kind of stuff. And if you wanted to lean into that, this gives you some really cool flavor to do that. Also, if you're just like a fighter who has a thing for ghosts, there's some cool stuff you could do kind of in that respect. So there's all kinds of like interesting avenues for nice flavor and mechanics, which is all good, and it's a strong subclass. So it's kind of a win-win for me. I mean, the Ancestral Guardian is like honestly kind of surprised at how much I loved it. I'm still a big Totem Warrior fan, but I think here we're going to push it up, and it might really go between the Lore Bard and the Swarmkeeper in terms of how much I like it. Yeah, I mean, and it really just comes down to how defensive you are. The Spirit Shield and the way it advances as you keep going, and then, you know, at like higher levels you get to deal damage with your Spirit Shield at the same time. It's cool. It's a cool thing. Go watch the video, but it's a cool thing. Next up is the Storm Sorcerer, and the Storm Sorcerer is Near perfect. Yeah, the Storm Sorcerer is really cool. I am a little bit biased. I have one of these. It's not my character, but I'm DMing for a Storm Sorcerer, and she has kicked my butt on several occasions. So it's pretty easy to see how strong the subclass actually is. And on top of that, I think there's a lot of really cool flavor and mechanics kind of built into. Just built into the subclass from the get-go, right? I mean, you don't have to stretch very far in the imagination to understand you're a sorcerer who likes lightning stuff, right? So you can fly a little bit, you can talk to the air, quote unquote. And so, yeah, I mean, all of that's just interesting and neat. You basically are just Storm from the X-Men, and, you know, I mean, I had a crush on Storm from the X-Men, so this is going super high. No, this is a cool subclass. Everything from Tempestuous Magic all the way up to Wind Soul kind of builds really well. I mean, the only problem you're ever gonna have is if your DM starts being a real asshole. It starts being like, no, we're not going to do, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw a bunch of enemies at you that have resistance to lightning and thunder damage, and then you have to be like, come on, man, that's my whole thing. Otherwise, this is cool as hell. Very good subclass, very good mechanics. If you want a strong sorcerer who likes to break stuff, here we are. Where should it go? Cha chicka cha chicka cha. I do like it more than the Draconic Soul. I don't like it as much as the Aberrant Mind. So I think it's gonna go here? That makes sense to me. Yeah. Next up is the Oathbreaker. Hot diggity daffodil, and the Oathbreaker is goated with the sauce. The Oathbreaker is incredible. It's just so awesome. The mechanics on it are ridiculous and hilarious, and metal as all hell. It really feels like the people who wanted to make the Oathbreaker wanted to make it as kind of just badass as possible. Your level 20 ability is called the Dreadlord, okay? Like, you are an absolute nightmare. But on top of that, and you look like Nightmare from Soul Calibur. But anyway, on top of that, the Oathbreaker has probably the coolest in-lore reason for becoming this subclass. The idea that an Oathbreaker can happen to any Paladin subclass, where they just forsake their oath and become an Oathbreaker, is great, because it lets you do a negative character arc from something like a Redemption or Devotion Paladin, right? Who becomes evil and breaks their oath. Or a Conquest Paladin who becomes self-righteous or sanctimonious or whatever, and decides to try to be a better person, and they also break their oath. Right? So the consequences are you become this thing with hateful auras and being able to control the undead, but it's your choice whether or not that's a punishment for breaking the oath, or if it's like part of their journey into becoming something different, right? It's a very interesting thing, and it's also, I think, probably the most requested subclass for a really long time, which is great. But yeah, I love the Oathbreaker a lot. I think it's super cool. In fact, it's gonna speed its happy ass up here. I think we're going like chickachoo, 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 like boom. Like, the Oathbreaker is probably the coolest, if not one of the best paladins they've ever tried to do. And, yeah, I mean, it's McNasty. Goated with the sauce for sure. Geez, as much as like I feel like I could gush about it all day, there's not really much more to say besides it's just really, really cool. So we're going to keep going. Next up is the Way of the Open Hand Monk. Oops, I messed with my recording. The Way in the Open Hand Monk is great until you hit level 17, when it becomes fantastic. And I think kind of where I stand on that is that... See, I'm having this big debate over like... Quivering Palm is so good, it does literally like shoot this thing up. Like it shoots it up so high it could be near perfect just for like the flavor and the mechanic alone. But most campaigns and most people not going to level 17. Like even D&D's like, this game is not balanced after level 13 or whatever, right? So for that reason, unfortunately, I do have to downgrade it somewhat, but I am going to put it pretty high up here. I think right there is fair, right next to the Ascendant Dragon Monk. So yeah, if you get Quivering Palm, bam, up here, maybe even like up here. Without Quivering Palm, right there. So I'm gonna kind of take the median in a way of like most D&D campaigns. And as much as I like the open hand techniques, they're great. They all work. Tranquility's fine. It's pretty cool. Wholeness of Body is okay. It really is the Quivering Palm that sets this thing apart from the other monks, but getting it so late in the game is kind of rough. Also, 2024 kind of just fucked this whole subclass up. I think in total the monk got better in 2024, but the open hand somehow got worse, and that actually pisses me off a little bit. We'll get into that eventually, but like, sad day for me. Anyway, next is the Mastermind Rogue, and I'm totally not biased on this one because the Mastermind Rogue is near perfect. Yeah, the Mastermind Rogue is beautiful and incredible, and I think just as good as the Inquisitive. That's why I'm going to pair them right next to each other. The Mastermind Rogue does everything the Inquisitive does, but from the opposite side, right? So while the Inquisitive is like the detective and I'm going to figure things out, the Mastermind is the person setting up the schemes and doing all the things that the Inquisitive wants to find out about, but they won't because we're too good. The great thing about the Mastermind mechanically is that you give that free bonus action, help action, and that is really, really helpful. Free advantage constantly is better than Bardic Inspirations, and you get it without having to use any sort of counter, right? Like it's not tied to a charisma modifier or your dexterity modifier. It's just good for the sake of being good, right? So the fact that you can, and what do they say the average on permanent initiative is, like a +5 or whatever? You basically are adding a +5 to every roll all time. And then if you have, you know, another rogue in the party, or you have a paladin in the party that can really benefit from not only hitting but getting a critical hit, you've just elevated the game quite a bit. So yeah, I honestly think the Mastermind is a little underhyped, underappreciated. I think it's one of the cooler, better rogue subclasses out there. It's obviously one of my favorites, and if you want to watch me play one, you can go over to Crispy's Tavern and check out our 10th Tomb playthrough with a lot of cool people, because that was a lot of fun. So you guys should go watch that. And I play Red the detective, but he's a Mastermind Rogue. So yeah, you guys should go do that. I'm rambling. I don't know why. All right. Next up is the Monster Slayer Ranger. I know that truck. I ain't no stranger. That's a Ford fucking Ranger. Anyway, the Monster Slayer Ranger does everything the Hunter does, but a little bit better. And for that, it's going to go in great. Yeah, the Monster Slayer is pretty cool. I like that it's simpler. I like that it's more put together. I gave both the Hunter and the Monster Slayer a bit of a tough time for being a little not as put together as I would like, but they're still pretty good. I mean, they're not a problem by any means. So yeah, the Monster Slayer is obviously kind of based around like Monster Hunter the video game, or like, you know, stories of taking on big prey and The Witcher and all that stuff. And all that's great. That's super cool stuff. But to me, I think it could lean a little better into doing that, like mechanically speaking. And it is just one of those Rangers that kind of just gets lapped. When you have somebody as good as the Gloomstalker, it's really hard to kind of live up to. And I think Rangers just miss their mark a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's pretty good. But for me, it's going to stay at the bottom of great. For me, it's one bad mechanic away from being like needs work. It's just kind of low on there. I know when I talked about it in the video, people kind of like asked me, they're like, "Oh, you might have been a little hard on these two." And it's like, I don't know if I was. The Gloomstalker came out in the same book, didn't it? Hold on, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, they both came out in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So it's like, if you're gonna have that right next to this, you kind of have to compare them. And I know the Hunter is earlier, so it makes sense that, you know, power creep is a thing. But you have the Monster Slayer right next to the Gloomstalker, and the Gloomstalker is just taking it to task. And it's kind of like, why would you play, unless you're just really into the flavor and stuff, which is also fine. But if you're looking for a powerful Ranger subclass, you know, I think most people are going to lean Gloomstalker over, over Monster Slayer. So I'm one of those people who's like, every subclass and every character in D&D can be great. I just wish that this gave you, the player, more to play with, and that's why it's lower on the list. So I don't hate your characters that you made who are Monster Slayer. I'm not shitting on them. I'm sure they're great characters. Bingus the Dingus from Dongus Land is the best character you've ever made, and I hope that they go on many adventures to come as a Monster Slayer. I had a Coke earlier today, and now I'm starting to think there was meth in it. All right, I'm done. Next up is the Cavalier, and the Cavalier is absolutely poo-poo, doo-doo, garbage, trash. No, if I put it there, I think people would actually, like, tear down my home. No, the Cavalier is super great. It's honestly underrated. I'm gonna have a hard time deciding whether it should go in near perfect or fantastic. But I think it is going to go in fantastic, and I'll place where here in just a minute. The great thing about the Cavalier is that it does everything that a defensive fighter wants to do without like pushing you into a certain play style, if that makes sense. Like, if you want the horse, get the horse. But if you're in a place where it don't make sense to ride horse, your whole shtick still works. And that's kind of impressive in a way. So the Cavalier is just a really solid subclass from tip to toes, from bridle to hooves. Nobody liked that one. This is a solid subclass, and I've always liked it, but once I started digging into it a little bit more, I was like, oh wow, no, this actually opens up a lot you can do. And then if you take, of course, the mounted combatant feat, you are a monster on a horsey, right? You are an absolute nightmare. Or if your DM is cool, or if you, the player, is a little crafty, you might be able to like snag a griffin. Like, there's griffin riders in Waterdeep, right? Like, obviously the DM could be like, you know, the griffin bites your head off or whatever, but like, I don't know. If my players were like, I really want to ride a griffin, can I try to steal a griffin? I'd make them make some checks, but yeah, why not, dude? You know, you know what I mean? Let's see what happens. So the Cavalier can work both on horsey, on griffin back, on what's a hippogriff, a hippo minus the griff. Oh, dude, a Cavalier Fighter, a GIF Cavalier Fighter on a hippo? Did I just break this game? No, that would be awesome. If only you could add a gunslinger to that. So anyway, no, the Cavalier goes high. Cavalier's like right here. It's amazing. I love it. Cool. Next up is the War Domain Cleric. War. Yeah. What is it good for? And D&D. Fucking everything. The War Domain Cleric is pretty sick. Honestly, it's one of those neat clerics that kind of allows you to pretend to be a paladin half the time. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it besides the fact that, like, you are the combat War Domain Cleric, or sorry, the combat cleric, right? You are a cleric who walks into the battlefield, heals their allies, and smacks people around while you're at it. So, was there a comic book or a TV show? It's like Preacher with a Shotgun. That's you, dog. That's you. It's pretty simple. It almost feels like I'm underselling it, just because of, like, there's not really much to it besides the like the Great Cleric spell list, and then you also get to bonk, and you are pretty good at bonk. So if you like to bonk and you like to cleric, this is the guy for you. We're somewhere here in Fantastic. Next up is the Maverick Artificer. Hell yeah, dude. No, the Maverick is dope. I don't care if it's homebrew. So many people, not that many, a few people were like, you shouldn't be doing homebrew before you've finished all the subclasses. And for starters, homebrew hangout's a thing. And for second, Eberron is dope. And written by people who have done D&D stuff way longer than you. So, yeah, I mean, like, the Maverick Artificer is one of those subclasses that they're like, to me, it's almost like the possibilities are so endless that you could really make a character to fit any campaign at any time to do anything. You want an artificer that knows a lot about trees? Take your druid spells. You want an artificer that likes big ass crossbows and shooting robot deer? Take ranger spells. You want an artificer that can boost the party's morale? Take bard shit. It's like the perfect way to combine like two things without multi-classing. And artificers are neat to begin with. You've got a ton of ways to flavor your spells and your infusions to kind of suit whatever that is, right? It's like let's take the armorer for example, right? If the armorer got druid spells, right, you kind of have this goofy clash between like, well, technically speaking, the druid has to wear wood, and a plate mail is not made of wood, and that kind of bullshit, right? This, you circumvents all of that. So you just get to play it how you want it, and that's the way you should, right? So it's a cool... I'm probably explaining this terribly. It's really cool. It's probably the most flexible artificer, and I like it a lot, and if you don't like Eberron, we can't be friends. The Maverick is fantastic, and it's going to go pretty high. Probably like right here. Actually, I like the Grave Cleric more. It's going to go right there. All right, cool. Next up is the School of Abjuration, which is a long and fancy word for bubble shields. Yeah, I mean, the School of Abjuration is, like, just straight up solid. There's no other way to really put it. As far as, like, a defensive wizard who kind of digs into that aesthetic, you're it, man. You're like, wizards are up to crazy shit, and I don't like that. And I'm going to set up wards and defenses and make sure that crazy shit don't hit me, right? So, yeah, I mean, as far as here we go. Watch this. Check this shit out. Watch. Whoop. There it goes. Near perfect is just about right. In fact, good golly, Miss Molly. Probably, like, yeah, about right there for the Abjuration Wizard, which, that feels good. I love it. Coming in right now, it is the Circle of the Land, the most down-to-earth Druid subclass. Please don't at me. The Druid subclass is great. I mean, this is a cool Druid subclass, hands down. The only issue with it is something that we fixed, and it's that the spells in it are pretty outdated. So I guess it kind of depends on what you're talking about when it comes to throwing it in a tier list, because if it's the way it's written in the player's handbook, we're somewhere in great. If it's the way we've kind of fixed things up to make them more flavorful, for me, that moves it into fantastic. So for now, I'm going to kind of do what I thought about, the same kind of thinking as the open hand, and just say as is. It's still just great, but it will be in high grade. I think somewhere like right there feels pretty good for the Land Druid. The circle spells are a unique way to make sure that everybody gets a little taste of what their stuff is. Nature's Sanctuary, the last spell you get, is pretty good. It's not the best by any means, but it's pretty good. But honestly, it's hard to go wrong with Druids, period. So, as the Wizard of the Druids, you're doing pretty good. So, and last but certainly not least, Glam Bam, thank you ma'am, it is the College of Glamour Bard. And, that's where it goes. Yes, I know. No, the College of Glamour is just the bardiest bard of all time. The only thing holding it back from being goated with the sauce with the College of Creation and the Swords bard is the fact that your enthralling performance takes a minute. Otherwise, like, if you could do that as an action, this thing is busted. Like, actually just super strong. The command thing is also pretty good, though you start getting into problems with, like, charming effects, and I probably should have talked about this more in the video, but, like, certain creatures can't be charmed, which kind of sucks. So it's like, anything that can't be charmed then can't be commanded by you in that way. Which kind of defeats the purpose of an entire ability. Now, that's not going to be every fight, but it could come up a little more than like that's one of those things that a DM might not even have recognized that their monster could do. You know what I mean? Like, they just pulled a stat block or whatever, and it's like resistant to charms, and then, one of your abilities is kind of hindered. So it's not really like they're countering against you. It's more like the ability itself is just kind of limited in that way. However, that's not going to happen to you all the time, and on top of that, it's still a very good ability. Unbreakable Majesty is dope as hell. Basically the Sanctuary spell, but if you hit me, I get to genuinely fuck you up. And at 14th level, you're getting all kinds of high-level spells, so from your magical secrets. So all of that is good. And we busted out a dope song for that one. I thought I thought it did okay. So yeah, hell, I mean, we moved through that pretty quick. It's hard sometimes when you just get to say they're all good, go play them, you know what I mean? But everybody on this list was great. The Oathbreaker obviously is the standout from round 7, but it's also absolutely amazing. Last time we did one of these, we were under 100k subscribers, and now we are over it by a nice little margin. So that is so great. And if I haven't, chatted with you guys about cool stuff. Anyway, I'd just like to say that you are all appreciated very much for hanging out and watching and sticking with me and having fun. If you want your subclass or your favorite subclass shouted out more, we absolutely can do that. Just throw them in the comments section to up the engagement of this video or whatever. But we have done, I think we've done exactly 100 subclass videos. Like, I think we're like, it's either like 98 or 100, and I'm not going to go count. But that's kind of incredible. Like that's wild, man. And it's been a lot of fun, honestly. So here's to, you know, a lot more of those. I can't wait to keep doing it. The big charity stream that we did for the 100,000 subscriber special was awesome, and it's kind of got me interested in maybe doing some more streaming stuff. So if you guys are into that, I would love to participate with you guys. So, and we could do D&D character building and, I don't know, maybe modeling on Hero Forge, or we could also turn around and do like some video games or stuff like that. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I'd love to do it with you. That sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe like one day a week we do a stream or something. But anyway, y'all are the best. I can't wait for round 8. Looks like we got a ton of cool subclasses out right now. And yeah, let me know your favorites in the comments. We'll get to it when we get to it. 2024 stuff is also coming up later, as soon as I can figure out some cool ways to make those videos more interesting. And yeah, y'all are the best. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.